Morning, everyone. It's great to see you after some time away. Thanks for joining us at St George's Park for today's squad announcement. Anton, we'll begin with you.
Hi, Sarina. Nice to see you.
Good to see you.
I would love to start with the squads and all these kind of things, but obviously you've heard the news in the last few minutes about Jonas Eidevall leaving Arsenal. I just want to know your reaction.
Yeah, I just heard it. To be honest, I was a little bit in shock. I didn't expect that. Of course, that's really sad. I think it's always sad when things happen like that. I didn't expect it. And yeah, I had a good working relationship with him. So I was a little bit flabbergasted, to be honest.
Have you known, obviously there was a lot of noise around Jonas's future. Have you known a sort of a departure in the women's game to be so I don't know, so talked about and so sort of anticipated, almost wanted by a section of fans?
Well, I don't understand your question. Can you repeat it?
Yeah, sure. I mean, obviously Jonas's future was talked about a lot over the last few weeks.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of fans that wanted to see him leave. Have you known that in the women's game before, to have such a sort of such a big talking point around a club coach's future?
Well, I think the game is growing so much and we're visible so much. And of course now 3 clubs in the Champions League is getting bigger and bigger. So you see that coming too. That's also becoming part of the game. And unfortunately, this is a negative one. So lots of things are very positive, but also some negative, hard things are coming with that too.
You've got 4 Arsenal players in the squad. And again, the players talked about how online they've been sort of receiving a lot of criticism and that kind of thing. Just want to know how they are and whether you've spoken to them about the situation and what's been going on with them.
No, I haven't spoken to them because I didn't know this was coming. I've had contact with a couple of players, but not about this, just about their development and about coming into camp. And yeah, I'll speak with them next week.
Talk to me about the 25 players you've named then in that case. Some difficult selections issues, I'm guessing.
Yeah, well, of course, it's nice to bring in 25 players. We're really happy that we qualified because now we can play 4 friendlies in this autumn and we can play very good games. Germany, USA, South Africa, Switzerland, over 2 camps. That's challenging, it's really good, and it shows us where we are. With bringing in 25 players, we can see a little more players, how to relate to each other in our environment, in training sessions, but we can also try out some more things in the games and see different connections. So I'm really excited to start again.
Chloe Kelly is a player that's been really important to you over the last few years, but obviously hasn't been getting the minutes that we're used to seeing at Manchester City. Was her place in the squad ever in doubt, and do you want to obviously see her sort of kick on more with City this season? Yeah,
she's in a hard position. I think City is in a very good position, which shows that they stepped up with the quality. We saw that last week. Well, we've seen it in the start of the season, but also against Barcelona the other day. So there's a huge competition going on there. It's the very, very highest level, and she's competing for that too. Not getting the minutes that, of course, she hopes for, and we do. But she's built credits with us that she wasn't in doubt for us to bring her in.
And Kiara Keing isn't in the squad, Anna Morehouse. Is that again because Kiara hasn't been playing much at Manchester City and Anna's been playing so well out in Orlando?
Yeah, with Kiara, we all know that Kiara is an absolute very talented goalkeeper. We had the conversation with her together with club, and we spoke with it. We want her to get fitter and sharper, and yeah, that's the message she got. And that's better to do in her own environment.
Hi, Sarina. Just touching back on Chloe Kelly, you've always had the remit of if you're not playing for your club, you're not going to get selected for your country. We've seen it with other players where they've had to move club to get the minutes. Have you had a conversation with Chloe about the importance of maybe leaving Manchester City sooner rather than later?
No, I didn't. Look, we said playing minutes is very important because how are we going to pick you? And it's competing at club too. It's really good that the level of the clubs is so high that you have to be at the top level to be playing. And of course, it's about talent, quality. It's about playing minutes. It's about the competition on your position. And Chloe built some credits with us too. That's what I said. So it's not just black and white. It's of course so much better when you get the minutes because that brings you to the level necessary on international level for your country too. Of course, it's her career. And all players know that it's absolutely helpful to get minutes.
Someone else who's not been playing as much as they might expect is Mary Earp. She's obviously been England's number one for a long time. We've all seen how wonderful she's been for England over the years, but because she's not getting lots of minutes at the moment, does that potentially open the door to someone like Hannah Hampton to take the number one shirt?
Yeah, you bring this message as if she's not a starting player for Paris, and I think she is. So she's the starting or the number one goalkeeper. And there's competition there too, of course, that's obvious too. Started this weekend. I think moving to France, of course, that's adapting, new situation. Unfortunately, they didn't qualify for the group stage in the Champions League, which is a disappointment for them, for Mary and for us too, because we want to see her in the Champions League too. So that's not the start I think she had hoped for. But still, we know what she brings for us. And we also know that's a huge competition going on between her and Anna also coming in.
Between tournaments, qualifiers, Nation League matches, it's been a while since England have actually enjoyed some friendlies. Are you looking forward to the potential of being able to maybe experiment a little more than you have been able to over the last year or two?
Yeah, I'm very excited for that, and we could pick our opponents too. So we play many different styles in the upcoming 4 games, which is exciting, and we were exposed to many things, and we have to be at our top level to win those games. But yes, it's also an opportunity to get other connections, to see more players. Although I do think that last year we played many players too in the Nations League.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jo. We'll go across the room to Phil. Thank you.
Hi, Sarina.
Hi.
I just wondered what your thoughts were on Naomi Lael, watching her the other night when you were at City. I guess wondering if she possibly would have been part of this squad if she hadn't picked up that injury at the end.
Yeah, well, we had an eye on her already last season. She was with the under-23s, and when we were in Spain, she already trained with us too. So I can't say whether we would have picked her. She was on our long list. We keep an eye on her, but she got injured on Wednesday, so we always wait till the last moment to see as many games as possible. So I can't give that answer. I just hope she gets fit quickly. I think she did really well with such an occasion. I said she was about 80 minutes in paradise, in football paradise. Scored a goal against Barcelona. She will never ever forget that. And unfortunately, she picked up an injury. But I hope she'll be recovering well and be on the pitch soon again.
And can you just tell us a little bit about some of the other adjustments in terms of the defenders kind of department? We've got Lucy Parker coming back in after a long time away. And also Millie Turner missing out this time.
Yeah, in defence, there's also competition going on. And Lucy Parker, well, it has been a year since she was in the team, came back fit in pre-season. And I think she started the season well. We have seen her, well, we think she's a very talented player. And she had a couple of games now coming out. And we just want to see her in our environment. And the same with some other defenders, of course, with Esme Morgan getting minutes now, Washington. It's really good to see them in our environment with the other defenders, of course, too, and the other players, and see how they relate to each other, which gives us a lot of information already for next summer.
Great, cheers.
Thanks, Phil. We'll just go to Tom in front. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, Sarina.
Good
nice
morning.
to see you. I'm just wondering what your message will be for the players who aren't in the squad. Who, have they still got hope to get back into the Euros? What would you say to those players who are on the outside? And particularly, I'm wondering if you've had a chance to chat with Katie Zellum since her move to California. Like, how is she doing? And maybe is she someone who has a chance of getting back in if she can perform well over the next few months? Yeah,
I had a couple of conversations with the ones who were in July and not in now. So I spoke with Millie. I spoke with Kiara, but also with Katie. I spoke before the summer, and that she wasn't in our plans for this moment, and she had a move. Yes, we keep an eye on her, but at the moment she's not in our plans.
And a similar question about Ellie Roebuck, if I may, with her moving abroad. I know you already spoke about the goalkeepers, but have you had a chance to chat to her since she went to Barcelona? Like, how is she, and was she in your thoughts for this squad?
Yeah, she's a little further away. I'm just really happy now. She's on the pitch again. She's trained. She was with the squad last Wednesday. Of course, she had a hard time coming back. Worked really hard, but at the moment she's far away. We need to see her play again.
Thank you very much.
We'll go across to Kit. Thank you.
Hi, Sarina. Nice
Hi.
to see you. You spoke about the advantages of being able to pick your specific opponents for the friendlies for the rest of the year. Can you share kind of what specific qualities you think maybe Germany have, or South Africa have, or USA have, which you think will allow your team to be tested in a positive way?
Yeah, I think you know Germany and USA. I think you watch the Olympics too, so they won medals, and of course, like Germany's top level, so we have to be top. They're very physical. They have a new coach, so they're a little bit in transition. Some players are retiring from international football, but they're still very strong, powerful. Always bring a certain level when we have to be at our best. South Africa's is different. South Africa's very physical, athletic, a lot of pace. We saw that last year in the World Cup. They were really giving countries a hard time, did really well, and are very dangerous in the counter-attack. So we really have to be at our top level to play well against them and to beat them. And with, of course, USA, we know they won a golden medal. They did really well. Their front players are really good, but I think it's very stable at the moment.
We've also spoken about the advantages of having some friendlies and maybe a bit more of an opportunity to an experiment. Are there any challenges which come with not having any competitive fixtures for the rest of the year?
No, there's no challenges. The challenge is that we want to play at our best against top opponents, and that's the absolute challenge. The other thing is also there's competition going on in the team. Players want to start, players want to be selected, and players, of course, want to do so well that the chance of making the Euros next summer is as high as possible. I think that's challenge enough.
Cool. And just finally from me, can I ask about one of the more senior players in the squad, and Fran Kirby, who seems to have kind of been rejuvenated almost by her move to Brighton this summer. Just what have you made of her start to the season?
Yeah, I think she looks happy. She's very valuable for Brighton. Brighton had a good start of the competition. And yeah, she shows that she's so smart. She's such a good vision of the game, understands the game really well. And I hope that she can still step up and be available at all times for training sessions, for games, and play. And I'll sit down and have a chat with her next week.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Kit. We'll go to Simon at the front. Thank you.
Hi, Sarina.
Hi.
I just wanted to ask you about, obviously, we've seen a few players from the 23s step up in Jess Naz, Aggie Beaver-Jones. Just how you feel since you've been here, that sort of production line of talent has worked beneath you, and has it sort of got developed further than you maybe even thought when you started, the level of players that are coming through into the first team?
I think, yeah, they're very, very talented players, but they need time too. So when they come in our environment with the senior team, we just really want them to challenge straight away and do everything to try to take the next step and get minutes or get into the starting lineup. Respect teammates, but show up too. They need a little time, but I think in our environment, Aggie, you're talking about Aggie and Jess, as well as Jess did really well with us. So that's why I want them in the team again for next camp.
And a big talking point at the moment is the sort of number of English qualified players in WSL. I think it's about sort of 30% this season. Is that something that worries you in the long term of English players getting chances in a league which is so competitive?
Yeah, I think, yes, it is worrying that players in the age, say, from 20 to 22, that they need valuable minutes. Minutes are so meaningful for them to develop. But we also want to have the best league in the world. And those players need to be ready to play there too. So, yes, we need to figure out, so if they won't get the minutes, where can they get the minutes, and figure out how we can help them in that and create situations that they do get the minutes.
Thanks, Simon. We'll go across to Catherine.
Hi, Sarina.
Hi.
Just wanted to ask you about the left-back position. Obviously, with Niamh Charles being injured, there's maybe not loads of players that are playing left-back for their clubs that are in the squad,
Yeah.
but there's players that have played there for you, and I just wondered if you think you've got enough options to kind of cover that role while Niamh's not available.
Yeah, I think so. In the squad we made, of course, most ideal is when you have a left-footed left back, but it's also about quality. Do you have those players that you think that can step up and do that? We have had players in that position that can play there, even when you're right-footed, and we think we'll find solutions for next camp.
And just wanted to ask you about Esme Morgan and Jess Carter and their moves to the US and how you think they're getting on over there, and whether it's kind of going to a new league in the US and obviously having that challenge will kind of help them coming back into your squad as well.
Yeah, you know, it's their career, and I think that league is very good too. It's different. It's another environment, but they do get exposed a lot. They get the playing minutes, and they're both enjoying it too. Yes, the challenge is, of course, the traveling. They're getting used to traveling now in the US too, because I went there. It's a lot of travel. I thought England was a lot of travel, but US is even more travel. So they get used to that, and yeah, when they come in, of course, we'll have further conversations. But yeah, it's for Jess. She's taking the next step. There's a difference, so she learns different things too. But I think she plays well, and Esme gets more and more minutes, and she's really, yeah, learning in that environment too.
Thanks, Catherine. Finish with a question from the front.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Hi, Sarina. We're expecting new figures today from the insurance giant Howdens, which will show another increase in injuries to players in the men's game across the top 5 leagues in Europe during the 2023-24 season. You've had a lot of experience making difficult choices when it comes to squad selection and injury, and I wondered whether you were following the conversation that's going on inside the game about fixture congestions and the heightened risk of injuries. And if so, does it have an echo of what's gone on in the women's games with starts like Rodri suffering ACL injuries?
So the main thing is you're talking about injuries and congestion of games.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talk about the calendar a lot, of course. And what I always say, that with the growth of the game, which is really good, but it needs to grow together. So the technical part and the marketing commercial part, and we have to look at the calendar to get the best players on the pitch, which is such a wider conversation. So there's a lot of research going on in the women's game, which is necessary too, but that takes time. There's so much development, so, you know, more games, Champions League's changing, now we get the World Cup for clubs, so that's getting a challenge too. I just hope that all together we keep making the right decisions for the players and also challenging them, of course, to play at top level, moving forward, basically.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. We'll end there. We'll see you next week. Thank you.
Thank you. See you next week.